Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to London Football TV Live for Week 5 predictions and Week 4 recaps. Gentlemen, Adam Melrose with you, Everett Hamner, Joe Harris, and the coach Ron Ferwerda. Coach Dylan Sherville is on his way. We decided to show up today, boys, at the home of the Vikings here at Lucas High School, and Dylan's got to come from the south. I know we all came from all over the city, but it's cool to kind of move this around and hit some of these different fields. So, a pretty crazy week in football, gentlemen. I think we all got to catch a lot of games. Ron, you and I went out and did the Cass Eagles game, which was a whole lot of fun. And then I'm bumping into Joe everywhere. After I met him like 2 weeks ago, we're hanging out at Swish LA together the other night, and everything's good, right?
Festive special is on.
Exactly.
Festive special's on now?
Oh, yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving indeed. So, and with that, again, welcome out to London Football TV Live. I think that might be Dylan sliding in now, so he'll run down the hill and we'll get started. So,
he's not running down the hill.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a slippery hill. You got to be careful here.
True.
It's this is another one of those facilities in the city of London that they could just put stands in here and it would look really nice, for a bowl. Mind you, it gets pretty full here in general. So let's roll into last week. Right away. So, obviously what I've set up here, guys, too, and for everybody following along at home, is the little numbers here. We've got the percentage. So we're doing every week the polls on Instagram. So this was the winner of the poll, and their percentage. And then, of course, everybody's, kind of picks for the week. So, let's talk Saunders and Sab right away, which for me, this was an upset for the week. Looking at, with the exception of Everett and Snyder, kind of thought Saunders kind of was going to run away with this one. But I think with the loss of Dylan Fauner and Simon Hunt on the D-line and O-lines, that obviously made a big impact for, allowing Sab to run the ball. So we do have a clip for this one real quick. So we'll throw that up on the screen. There's no audio to this, but another really great piece of content for B&M Film. But did either of you guys make it out to that game?
Didn't make it out, no.
It was at daytime, right? So we were probably all coaching. But, Sab having themselves a bit of a day. So really great content for B&M Film. Please go and follow them on Instagram. They put a lot of good content up. It's, another really good partner in the city and another great camera out there. So Sab just having themselves a great day, and definitely go check out that clip. So let's go ahead.
About that matchup, this was I talked about that these were two teams that I thought were better than their records indicated.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first week that Sab had a healthy and true starting lineup that they thought maybe at the start of the season would be their starting lineup. Football, as a lot of sports, injury prone. So this was Sab. They had their true starting lineup out, and they're kind of hitting stride at the right time. And they've put together 2 wins and coming into a big game this week. So it might be a surprise standing wise, but Sab is kind of where they want to be at a good time in the season.
Yeah, and Sweeney is a dangerous quarterback too at Sab, and I think his weapons are starting in week 4 to really establish themselves. So I was blown away when I saw the finals on this one. So congrats to Everett and Coach Schneider, who was going to try and make it out here, but he's got a young sick kid at home. So. And 30% or 73% on the Instagram poll for Saunders as well too. So a lot of people thinking this was going in another direction. So let's talk about MTS and Laurier. Nice win for Laurier, 20-7, 80% on Instagram for the Rams. And then across the board, we all pick Laurier, right? And then unfortunately, we're hearing there was 2 or 3 big players in that game who went down, most notably DJ Fonte. Not more importantly than the other guys going down, but when you get a guy like Fonte going down, Ron, like with your QB1 going down, what do you rip to your QB2 to go to simpler playbook? Like, what's the move there as an OC?
Well, first of all, you've got to realize that, do they have the talent at the backup position to run the same offense, or do you have to dumb it down? Realistically, we know Laurier is a very, very young team. And, a lot of the leadership and a lot of everything was going on DJ's shoulder. You take that out, and now all of a sudden, they're a ship without a rudder, a ship without a captain. So we hope DJ actually gets back this week. We're not sure if that's going to happen. But there's not a lot of high schools that have a backup quarterback that caliber that has taken the snaps, that's taken the reps. It's usually what you're doing in this situation like that is your wide receiver 2 or your running back 2 is coming in to play quarterback, and the only reason is because they know the offense. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but at the high school level, you don't have that quality backup that you really need.
Well, and you look at, we're here at Lucas. Game 1 was against Lucas, ended up in a tie there, and Laurier's down 31-0, and I see DJ Fonte on their sideline just rallying, like being a general for that team. And they come back and tie that thing 38-38. So, not to say there isn't other talent at Laurier, but I think it'll be an interesting matchup for them this week, to say the least. So anything else on this one, gentlemen?
And I think we'll talk about it more,
Yep.
at least in the week coming up.
Absolutely. So let's flip to Lucas Medway. 70% in the Instagram poll for Lucas W. Lucas pull away with this one later in the game, but a pretty evenly matched matchup here. Medway going into this one 3-0, looking to just make that a 4-0. So, the Vikings had a chance to go in there and sort of upset that, but a well-played game. Really, really well-played game. I know a lot of kids on the Medway squad, too. We had guys like Gower who had a nice day. Kudo had a really nice day as well, too. And then it was actually Camden Melrose who caught a ball from Sean Malik to win this one, which was good. So we'll get that clip real quick.
No bias in that.
No.
Zero bias. Well, this is the game winner. I don't care who this is going to.
Yeah,
right?
baby. Come on, Miller.
There's
Let's go,
a
baby.
really good
Yeah, baby.
who is Sean Malik's dad, actually, who runs that. And it does a really good, both-sided review of the game, right? And you can go back and watch that. So if you guys are watching, please go follow London Best in Sports as well, too. But Everett, this might have been your only wrong pick of the week, I think.
It wasn't.
No,
you had one more.
So I did get this one wrong. I do like the way Medway plays. Big, physical team.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas, no slight against Lucas at all. They won the game. I like the way Lucas plays as well, running the ball right at you. You know it's coming. But that was a great matchup last
Oh, yeah. Well, and with Cam Bordeaux, RB1 being down in this game, and Sigurdsson stepping up and struggling. He I think his first 2 carries, he dropped the ball, which was really tough. So we go to the air to Imisi, who's a guy who, we don't throw to a whole lot, but gets one in. Sigurdsson does end up scoring, and then Melrose gets that one later in the game. So pretty exciting game, and it was one of those, I had just gone and done the I did it the next day rather with Simon Cantor, who plays basically middle linebacker, had 25 solo tackles in that game for Medway. This kid's an animal. And then he and I went and did the the CCH Banting game up on the roof there. So not bad. But Ron, you had Medway in this one too, but it's all right.
Well, I really thought that that they'd be able to control the line of scrimmage a little bit better. I'll be honest, Lucas showed me something I wasn't sure if they had. We knew Lucas was going to be good. We know a lot of these teams are going to be good. But when it comes down to things, I thought the offensive line and the defensive lines of Medway were slightly better. So that's kind of why I went with that. I will say this. I was watching the movie The Replacements over the weekend. And as for that last touchdown, winners always want the ball.
Yeah, there you go. Let's move on to the next one. So, Oakridge, South. This is looking like more of an expected South score if I had to make comments on this one. Everett, comments on this game?
That this is, again, South, we said there was going to be a bounce-back game for South at home, their second game at home. They lost their opener to CCH at home. You knew they were hungry to get back in the win column down the stretch into the playoffs, and high-powered offense that South has was on display at home.
Yeah, definitely. Did you make this one, Joe, or did you see any of the clips?
Believe it or not, I'm not coaching this year, but I do have to work. So
Yeah.
all the game. But I think everyone kind of knew this was going to happen. South had a terrible schedule.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately for Oakridge, South came out and got some payback.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and normally we have Dynamic Shoots is another Instagram page in town that covers all the Oakridge games. So, and he went away and he sent me a message that, sorry, man, I'll go get it to you when I get back. But he apparently had some really good footage of this, but there's really not a whole lot else online, which blows my mind. So,
Oakridge has some injuries too, from what I've seen and heard.
yeah. And I think South would have been down Chase Smith, who was kicked out in the last game. So, yeah, I mean, but this is, what I think what we all expected, and so did the 82% on Instagram and pretty much everybody here as well, too. So let's go to Parkside STA. I'm starting with you on this one, Joe.
Mercy rule game. The non-believers didn't believe in the Flames, so if we can get a flame on from Everett later, that'd be nice. This is exactly what I said last week. High school kids, they haven't played great. They came out and the offense actually came alive. Like, Parkside's not chopped meat. Like, they were in close games with some of these other schools they've played this year.
Yep.
So it was nice to see my alma mater come back and play some real football. But besides that, like, the score says it all, right? 35 points.
Yeah, definitely. Well, STA agreed with you, as did I. And we didn't get a Coach Schneider on this one last week because he had to go back and coach. If you missed last week's predictions, we were at the Beefeaters practice. But, I think this was a nice W, nice one in the column for STA for sure. So any other thoughts on this one, boys?
And Joe talked about it in his prediction. This win for STA kept their season alive in terms of their chance to play into the playoffs after this upcoming week. So they got that motivation, between the ears that, hey, we need to play. Let's give us something to play for. And they did. So good to see for sure.
Yeah, definitely. CCH Banting. This one was just a complete battle of the Titans. Again, we had our guy Simon Cantor on the call with me. If you've never been to Banting High School, there's, in place of a press box, there's just a sea container that we Spider-Maned up the side, and all the gear in front of you right now, gentlemen, was up on top of that. And it's basically a trampoline up there, but we got the game done, and we had to cover this one, and it was this was probably the game, I don't know about y'all, but the one that I got the most flack from parents and Instagram messages and text messages, and
everyone loved me for my prediction.
Of course they did, right? But I wasn't at the field 30 seconds at Banting trying to set things up, where I've been very welcomed before, but because I picked CCH on this one, it was I was a bit of an outcaster at Banting, or an outsider rather. But I mean, one heck of a game. One heck of a game for sure. What are your thoughts on this one, Everett?
Absolutely. It was a great game, back and forth, very physical affair. CCH gave Banting a great run for their money. CCH had the chance to go down the field. Their offense was marching at about, they got it down to about the 8-yard line with under 2 minutes left. Chance to, a touchdown with an extra point wins the game for them against a very, very good Banting team. I think you would take that at the start of the game or the start of the season in that matchup. So they did a lot of things. CCH did defensively. They didn't let Banting completely run or air it out all over them. And they also ran the ball very well, effectively, against a very good Banting defense. Keyshawn had a lot of carries in that game, a lot of hard yards, and moved the ball well. So a lot of good things from CCH despite the loss, but a lot of things that I know Coach Karowski and the coaching staff will want to clean up going into this final week.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, that first touchdown, really the only touchdown for CCH in the game, was that high snap on the punt for Banting that resulted in them getting the ball on like the 8-yard line, which was gorgeous. But I agree with you. Keyshawn looked like Keyshawn Manning, right? It was great seeing him. And Jed, again, continues to blow my mind, having not played all summer. Just shows up and is just throwing beautiful passes and had himself a Game. So Joe or Ron, any thoughts on this one?
You want me to go first round? Sure. Everett's right. And Everett's made the point of saying the quarterback at CCH is good. He is good. Not going to pick on kids. But why are they throwing slants on the 5-yard line with that line? It was a terrible decision coaching-wise, and I think Alex is going to make corrections. If I had those guys, I'd be running power trap and, duo all the time.
Right.
They're so big. And if you watch, you recorded the game.
Yeah.
Banting went 5 wide. That was awesome to see, right?
Yeah.
That's like kryptonite for those guys downtown.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like make a couple of reads. Oh, no, just this kid's going to run the 200. Like it's but and I'll give McKay credit, man. He was in it, but you could see him get a little tired of the game because the guy literally didn't leave the field.
Some of the best quarterback on quarterback hate
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen.
The hit late in the game, too.
Yeah.
Jed
oh,
ran him.
baby.
I'd say Jed came up in that the free safety. McKay came downfield.
Yeah.
He was going upfield. I'd say Jed came out on top of that.
Yeah,
that
was
smack.
that
was
was
a big league.
It was the
hit.
loudest hit of the
Yes,
day. I wish I had a mic in the middle of the field because it was one of those like, ooh, and the whole crowd kind of just like, is it okay? It's okay. Yeah, we're good. All right,
Yeah,
keep going.
The thing I'm just going to add, Banting's defense showed me something that it's not that I didn't think they had. I didn't think they had enough of, and that was the key for me. Is Banting's defense really came to play, and you're right. There's some coaching calls in that game that maybe you kind of want back, but the result is what it is. And congratulations to the Banting Broncos. And
It's a
heading to this
playoff
week.
rematch for sure.
Oh yeah. There's these two teams haven't seen the last of each other. And I will say down the road, yes, we received a lot of flack, but it's hard to beat a CCH team twice in a year. Just
That's
remember
very
that.
accurate. Yeah, and definitely. And I know there's a lot of people in the watching the stream right now too. Throw your comments in the chat. Last week we were real active in the chat. We'll definitely throw that up if you're watching right now. Let us know your thoughts on that one too, because I know there was a lot of people at that game. So, St. Joe's and Strathroy, 73% in the Insta poll for St. Joe's, and a nice 35-15 victory. So. I know I based even though knowing that, both these teams are 3-0, I based my pick last week on just the insanity of the coaching staff at Strathroy, lovingly. But, I mean, St. Joe's just clearly showing that they're a powerhouse in this division and doing really well. So why don't we start with you on that? Any thoughts on that game, Ron?
Yeah, the Rams, as I was kind of preparing for this, I took note. The Rams have the #1 defense overall. Take the city, take the county. They've given up 35 points this year.
Wow.
In 4 games. So, and 15 of them are in this game. And they've also played a really good Cass team. And they've also played. That defense is for real. And when you can run the ball like the Rams can, spread it around, you've got some playmakers out there. But what travels as the weather gets colder, run the ball and play defense. That team is going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Thoughts on that one, gentlemen?
No, I just echo those points there. St. Joe's is a very, very good football team. They've proved it week in, week out, and they proved it this past weekend in a big win against Strathroy.
All right, we'll move it on. Glendale 17 loses to Ingersoll 27. IDCI with the 59% in the chat, on the Insta poll. We all picked Ingersoll on this. I think this was, it's unfortunate. Glendale finishes the week 0-4, but like we said, they're putting points up, putting 17 up, which is commendable. And Ingersoll doing well this year as well too. So I think no surprises in this one, and I think unless anybody's got any comments on this one, we could move on to the College Ave East Elgin game where Ron and I took London Football TV Lite and just made a two-man show on the. It got cold that night too. It
got frosty.
Yeah,
and the field was slick. Beautiful facility, Cohen Field in Woodstock. Absolutely great facility. The grass, the field, the lights, everything was pristine. It was just a fantastic environment. There's 500 people out of that game.
Oh yeah. And it was United Way fundraiser as well too, and a beautiful. I'd take this team there to play. I mean, the field was gorgeous, beautifully crowned, really nice grass. The lights are super nice. It's really, really nice LED lights there too. So, and it was nice going there. The East Elgin guys we were right between the benches, so it was really fun to hear. You get the chirps and everything else going on, but Javon Roberts coming over and just thanking us for being there, and most of the county kids came over and made a big deal out of thanking us for being there because they're like, well, we see you guys cover all the games in London all the time. You don't come out to the county. So it was pretty cool to do that game. And it was certainly well received. And, we never did get a hot dog from the barbecue that was going on. They did some
fantastic.
Like the wafting of the grill that was just hitting us the entire time was unreal. So anyway, Cass, no surprise here. We all picked it. What was really interesting, and I didn't set this up at all, in the Instagram poll, it was exactly 355 votes to 355 votes, like complete 50-50 on this one. And I think both teams played really well.
It was a late touchdown. Remember, they changed formation. Now, we know Cass was down quite a few players in that game.
Yeah.
And there was a couple injuries during the game as well. They were up against it. They had to change formation and do something completely different that I don't think they were expecting to do. That's how good the Eagles played. You know, they didn't have much offensively. They don't have that it guy. But that's a young team, and I think that's a team that's coming up. Shout out to Coach Craig Doherty and Adam DeCraker, a couple guys who played for me a long, long time ago. It was, to my surprise, were coaching the East Elgin Eagles. So that was awesome to see.
And I go anywhere with Ron, and it's like, oh, here's 9 kids, one side coached, right?
Yeah.
This game, as we just said, was tied late into the fourth quarter. That's something that Cass this season, that doesn't worry them. They've been in more tight games than any other team in the league. When you look at their points for, points against, it's pretty balanced. So for them to be in a situation where late in a game it's tied, it's like, okay, we know what to do here. Yeah. And they eventually, calm, cool, collected, kicked that field goal, got the turnover on downs, and was it first playoff from scrimmage on that?
First or second play. I think it was the second
down
play.
Down the sideline on the far side from where the broadcast was. Like, great composure from the Knights.
Yeah, well, and College Ave making a few coaching pickups too, with the Danny Fitzgerald, formal, on the board at CCH, just letting the world know he's trying to become a firefighter in Woodstock, so spending a lot of time in Woodstock, works there too at a factory, and I see him on the sideline. So the defense with Tyken Zare, who unfortunately got kicked out of that game late in the game. But now you got Fitzy coaching Tyken, and College Ave's going to just keep growing.
That's a dangerous combination because that's a really, really good coach, and that's a really good player.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, let's flip into the standings then, guys. So obviously, no surprises here. Banting, riding high in the Cercelli 4-0, followed by CCH 3-1 now, South 2-2. STA with the 1-3, and then Oakridge 1-3, and Parkside 1-3. There we go. Let's go with the Darnell. Lucas, with their win over Medway, moves up into first at 3-0-1. Medway obviously 3-1 now. 2-1-1 for Laurier, 2-2 for St. Andre Bassett, and then Saunders 1-3, and then MTS 0-4. In the Walzac, no real differences here except for, Strathroy still at the top. They're just 3-1 now, 2-2 and 0-4 for Montcalm. And then in the Williamson, St. Joe's, again, riding high here too. Like you said, Coach, really, really low on the points against. College Ave moving up there too. They were actually in fourth last week, and with this win, bounced up to second, kind of just moved everybody else down. So,
but if you look at that, look at how tight everyone is there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a 3-1 team, a 4-0 team, and 2-2 teams. Who's coming out of that? That's a really tough division, and you've got some really good football teams there.
Yeah, definitely. So, again, if you're in the chat right now, feel free to throw in your predictions. But let's talk about the Thursday games this week, gentlemen. And let's get started here. The 1-3 Oakridge team playing the 3-1 CCH team at CCH. Ron, let's start with you on this one.
Quite simply, this is the get-right game for Catholic Central. I think they bounce back. I think they're too talented. Oakridge has got a lot of injuries. I'm taking the Crusaders in this one.
Okay. Joe?
Injury bug is, alive and well everywhere, it seems, in the city. I'm taking Crusaders as well. That being said, Oakridge, if you can, winning at Kennedy Field, a.k.a. Cheater Field, is one of the best things you can do.
I'm always making sure you guys are beside each other. This is perfect. All right.
What will make it harder for Oakridge to win at Kennedy Field, this is an 11 o'clock game. This is the United in Sport buyout game for CCH.
It gets very loud.
So, yes, with all the students, and we talked about it leading into that night game, there's not a lot of room at Kennedy Field, so the fans, you get pretty close to the field.
Yeah.
So, going to be a great atmosphere. I think that feeds into the Crusaders. Again, it's a bounce back game. They played a very, very good game with some opportunities to clean up. I think you want to see the Crusaders maybe balance out that pass game a little more. They did have some good completions, deep completions, but Banting's deep pass defense, I thought, did a good job of keeping the Crusaders in front of them. Not too many. You didn't see any home run passes. Look for the Crusaders to maybe try and balance that out, but still want to establish that run game. As we've said, come the playoffs, it's going to be the run game and defense that traditionally is going to take you far in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'm hearing the same thing, Ron. You were talking about earlier too with injuries at Oakridge, or somebody made a comment about injuries at Oakridge. And yeah, I think for that, I think they're a powerful team, but I think CCH takes this one all day. So let's move to the 4-0 Banting Broncos taking on STA. I'll start with this one. I think, Banting got their first real test last week. I think they win this one as much as STA, had a nice game against Parkside. I think Banting takes this one all day. And that's not because I got nothing but flack from Banting people last week. I honestly believe in this one. So, Everett?
I'm going to pick Banting as well. STA coming off of a great win last week. They're definitely in tough against a very, very top team in the Broncos. This game, it means a lot to STA because there's a three-way tie for that final playoff spot in that Cercelli division. Their first tiebreak is head-to-head. That all washes each other out. So second tiebreak is points against. So in the event that STA is trailing in this game, you're going to want to minimize the damage. So there's still a chance, like Lloyd Christmas and Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah.
There is a chance. The defense, you want to minimize any damage on offense for the Broncos.
All
but
right.
I'm going Banting.
Banting.
I got people on both sides of this game. Most obviously STA. I think Derek is the best DC in the city. Derek Juilliard played at Guelph. And I think Ben is the best OC in the city. He also has the benefit of having an Olympian, though. And I think, talent wins games. So I'm going Broncos.
Okay.
Yeah, 4-0. This is the first time I can recall in my lifetime that Banting has been undefeated at this point of the season with a chance of going for an undefeated regular season. They're not blowing that, taking the Broncos.
All right. And Koven Stahoviak in the chat would agree with you as well.
Of course he would.
And yeah, obviously we had the Insta polls up earlier today too, and Banting rating really high on this one. So let's go to Clark Road and East Elgin. Battle the 2-2 teams. Let's start with you on this one, Ron.
Coach Schneider is saying Clark Road was really, really coming on. That was a team that was coming on. But I'll go with what I know and what I physically have seen and the coaches that I know. I think that East Elgin team is a little bit better than everyone thinks they are. And having for Clark Road to travel to Elmer, that's a different environment.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great facility. That is a great environment. They come out. It's not the school that comes out. The town comes out to watch that game. I'll take the Eagles.
All right, Eagles. Joe?
A couple years ago, Clark Road had a couple of stud defensive tackles. Are they still at Clark Road?
Are you talking about the Williams brothers? They're well gone at this point.
Yeah.
Then I'm going East Elgin.
Okay. Everett?
I'm going to go Clark Road in this one. Clark Road's coming off a big win over Montcalm. East Elgin, a hard-fought game. They lost last week. I'm still gonna go with Clark Road. They're battling for playoff positioning there, so I'm gonna go with Clark Road.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't have a whole lot of film on Clark. One thing I did like at East Elgin is a guy who used to play DB for me, is Caden DeBoer, is now the defensive end. He's 6'4", super fast, and was putting crazy pressure on Cass. And I really liked what I saw defensively from East Elgin. So I'm gonna go East Elgin as well on this one. And let's move on.
Made some money again.
Yep.
The big one.
Montcalm 0-4, Strathroy 3-1. I'll start with this one. I think, unfortunately, just based on numbers alone, Montcalm not having the season that I'm sure anybody wanted on their team. So I'm purely on numbers. I'm picking Strathroy on this one.
I'm going Strathroy as well. They're at 3-1 this season, which is a solid season. I think they are coming off a loss against St. Joe's. Any team coming off a loss, you want to right that as quickly as you can. I think against in this game they have a chance to do that, so that's my pick.
Okay. Joe?
Go Saints, country strong. I think that's the theme here in this division.
Yeah,
And it's a night game.
And it's I was going to say this is the night game. So this is another one where the community wants to come out and support. SDCI has been down for a number of years. It's great to see them coming back up. They've had some great alumni there. I know they've got some people helping out at that school. I'm taking the Saints.
All right. Well, let's move on to the Friday games. Oh, that's the wrong one. And we'll get things rolling here with 6 games on Friday this week. So Medway 3-1 at Saunders 1-3. Ron, let's start at your end.
You know, I took Saunders last week, and I thought Saunders was really, really good. I thought they had a lot of potential. Medway's just physically bigger and stronger than them, and I think Medway's going to run away in this one.
Okay, Medway, Joe?
Yep, it sounds like injuries are in play here too. When I saw Saunders live here, I really liked what they did, but Medway is so big, that's tough to handle.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm taking Medway. Their defense, big and strong team. Saunders, they are putting some good pieces in place to get that program, but I think there's too few pieces that we can't see what that puzzle is yet.
Right.
I'm going with Medway.
Yeah, I think same thing. I was just at Medway, saw them play. I know you got Simon Hunt down at Saunders too at the DN spot, who was a big deal for them. And then Fauner, we don't know what. I mean, obviously he'll be back, but he's down a week here too. So yeah, I'm taking Medway on this. Lots of great moving parts on that team. So let's move to Sab, coming off a win at Laurier, to which we just spoke about too, potentially down 3 of their starters on offense. So Ron, let's start with you here. Sab, Laurier.
You know, Sab, I bet against them last week, coming off that emotional win the week before. They've got a lot of things going their way. Laurier seems to be going the other way a little bit. Kind of my upset special. I'm going with the Bulldogs.
Okay, Bulldogs. Joe?
I'm not riding Ron's picks here. I said he was going to be better than us. I'm going to make sure he can't. But I'm also going with St. Andre Bassett. My dad went to Gonzaga, so they're the Bulldogs as well. So go Bulldogs. Those Laurier kids are tough, but, we'll see what the injury bug does.
Okay.
We were talking before the stream came on how this is probably our game of the week.
Yeah.
There's a lot of playoff standing implications. The loser of this game likely draws CCH in the first round of the playoffs. Sorry, the winner in my notes here. The loser probably faces Banting.
Yeah.
So no matter what, these two teams are in for a tough matchup come the playoffs. So there's a lot on the line for both teams. Sab, they have that momentum. 2-game winning streak. I said they're finally healthy. I'm going with Sab in this one, riding that momentum.
All right. And as much as I want to stay on the train here, boys, I know.
There you go, lone wolfing it.
I'm going to lone wolf
Using
this
your
one.
brain, not your heart.
100. Yeah, I'm going to go horse not charts on this one. So I think regardless of the guys being down, even though DJ is going to be out, he's still going to be there. And I think there's guys like Luka Jurgens, Alejandro Rivera, D Tembo. There's talent on this team. So I'm going to still say that it's going to be a close game, but I'm picking Rams on this one. So let's move on to South, 2-2, Parkside 1-3. I think, as much as Parkside's going to want to avenge their loss last week, South's going to be feeling really good after their big win this week. I'm taking South on this one all day. Everett?
South as well. I think it's a very tough matchup for Parkside. I'm going South.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Joe?
South unless they decide not to show up.
Good point. And Ron?
Yeah, I kind of put my horse, with the Stampeders last week. South has got to get some positive momentum going for playoffs, and you got to win 2 in a row before you win 3 in a row. So I'm going with Coach Stenning and the South Lions to get 2 in a row and maybe right the ship a little bit more.
Absolutely. And I was actually just about to jump in here and grab some of the comments that it looked like a bunch of them got retracted, guys, but they looked like they were good comments before YouTube decided to delete them.
Yeah, thanks for the automatic YouTube filter there.
I'll turn that off next time because it looked like there was going to be some good heat in there that we could bring up on the cast, but we'll fix that next time. So Blake Bridge giving a shout out to the Montcalm Cougars. So, I mean, great job. I know Blake Bridge really well, and just an absolute all-star once upon a time at Montcalm. Check that. He played here. Glendale and College Ave. Glendale 0-4, College Ave 3-1. Ron, let's start on your end.
Dynamic playmakers. I know they're going to be up against the numbers and everything else. I know Tyken's there, who is not going to be playing because of the last play of the game. He got a taunting call out of bounds, which
With like seconds left in the game, too.
Which wasn't, after it was explained, it wasn't a taunting call. It sure looked it during the moment, but it really wasn't.
Yeah.
Still, too much speed, College Ave.
Okay, College Ave. Joe.
Yep, going with Cass. That field sounds like it's awesome. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm going College Ave as well. One of the top teams in that Williamson division, a very good and tight Williamson division. They're on a winning streak. I think they continue this winning streak into the playoffs.
Yeah, same thing here. Across the board, College Ave. The Insta poll earlier today was saying the same thing. We'll share those numbers next week. MTS playing live on the field we're on right now, where it's very dark from when we started this broadcast. Playing the 3-0-1 AB Lucas Vikings. Ron, we'll start with you on this one, sir.
Go Blue, go Vikings.
Yep.
I'm not going to say that, but this is MTS's little 300 moment, I think. They'll show up. These schools are the same area, but Lucas is going to handle this quite handedly.
Okay.
It's been a tough season for MTS. Their defense is allowing a little over 43 points a game against. I think this is one where the numbers and the math, and then you add in the matchup, very good Lucas team. I'm going Lucas in this one.
At home, too. Questionable whether Cam Bordeaux is back, but we're at home. Sigurdsson will be in the mix. Everybody else is healthy. So, I think we go Lucas on this one, too. Whole lot of Vikings calls coming out of the chat right now, too. More love for Broncos as well. And let's talk about the last game of the week. That'll be the other 8 o'clock game on Friday. Ingersoll, DCI 2-2 versus the 4-0 St. Joe Rams. I think St. Joe's playing so good this year. Mind you, they've always had a solid team. I'm absolutely saying they're coming out 5-0 regular season right now, just based purely on the talent that they've been showing up with all season long.
Ingersoll has had a good season. They've shown that they can compete, but consistency has been a bit of an issue for them. Going up against St. Joe's, they've just been the consistent team all season in that division. In a battle of consistent versus inconsistent, I'm going with the consistency, St. Joe's.
Okay.
Yep, undefeated matters. Go Rams, and that's at night at St. Joe's. That's a tough place to play, and if it's even competition, that's just a one-up.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, having been at a couple of these Friday night games at St. Joe's, again, this is another one like the city of Elmer. The city of St. Thomas comes out in droves for this game.
Mm-hmm.
If you went to St. Joe's, this is your kind of alumni game. Everybody comes back. That defense for St. Joe's is really, really good. Not saying that they beat some of the top tiers that are playing teams in London, but I'm telling you that St. Joe's team,
they can fight with them.
They would give a lot of teams a real good game, if not pull off an upset. But yeah, I'm Rams all day for their Friday night game.
Absolutely. So that pretty much wraps up the predictions for next week, gentlemen. So you know what? And if you're watching the stream right now and you're involved with the St. Joe's crew, Ron and I may be available to come out and do a live stream for that game. So tell you what, have somebody from your school or whatever get a hold of London Football TV, and if we can make it, we'll come out and do a game. We don't want to take away from people going live, but it'd be great for the people who maybe couldn't make the game for sure. Yeah, absolutely get a hold of us. That's real simple. It's just Instagram, London Football TV. Just shoot us a DM. But I think a great last week of regular season ball ahead of us, gentlemen. I think we've got some great matchups. Had a chance to discuss all the games. We were hoping Coach Schneider was going to come here tonight to have a chance to chat a bit more.
There's one more game I want to discuss in honor of Coach Schneider. The Beefeaters are playing the Quinte Skyhawks.
Yes.
In the provincial semifinals for Ontario. Get your thoughts on that game, Adam.
You know what? I'm pretty pumped. So Beef's finishing second place in the CJFL. Behind a skyrocketing St. Clair Saints, but Quinte, is getting better. The last couple of years we've been following the CJFL, and I think Beef's looking really healthy. They're having a couple of really good practices this week. It's a 6 o'clock game. It's going to be a little colder. And if it's going to be like this, then I think Beefs, you'll see a healthy dose of LJ Dyer. And Fairbairn should be back in the mix, I believe, too.
Yeah.
And
he
healthy.
played last game, too.
If you're watching this, too, if you guys have never been down to a Beefs game, obviously we stream them on ISI, but get down to Citywide. Rosie Streetery is going to be there. The food trucks are unreal.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great vibe, and there's usually about 1,000 people there at minimum. So really cool opportunity, and it's just chock full of high school kids from London that are going to Fanshawe or taking trades or things like that. So it's really good football, and it's all people that we've seen come through the London high school situation as well, too.
You know, and another thing, if you're interested in playing for the Beefeaters, this is not a Coach Schneider plug.
Not sponsored by.
This is not sponsored by the
can
Beefeaters
sponsor,
or anything else. But you know, if you're a high school player and you want to play and you're not sure what that path looks like, get a hold of Coach Schneider. Get a hold of a coach of a team that you're interested. Barry Emo in Hamilton, LaChance down in Windsor. Like, these guys are around. A former London Beefeater lineman is now coaching the Quinte Skyhawks.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so I think that's going to be a really good game. Quinte's really gone up as the year goes on, but I think there's still a step behind the upper echelon. And the Beefeaters and the Saints have kind of been that 1A, 1B all year, and then there's everybody else.
Yeah, definitely. So London should win this. They'll go down. They'll play St. Clair at St. Clair in the finals. And then one of them is going to have to go take on Okanagan.
No.
Is it not Okanagan?
No. Okanagan has to go play Saskatoon.
Oh, okay.
The winner
Hilltops.
London plays in Ontario for the national championship game. So if the Beefeaters win that game, potentially we're calling our second national championship game.
That'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be fun.
We have to
I'll come support you.
I was going to say, we got to get the boys involved on this. Just the whole panel doing the game would be super fun.
Yeah, I'm still in Ottawa on Saturday, but I'll be back.
Okay, beautiful.
National championship game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, that's a couple weeks away, though.
Couple weeks away, and that is if you haven't had the chance to go down the 401, the long straight drive, flat drive all the way down to Windsor. St. Clair, they have great facility down there. That is pound for pound one of the best football facilities that I've been at, and been there a few times. Coach LaChance and the St. Clair organization, they do a very, very good job. Their game day staff does a great job. So if that's where it is, that's going to be a great atmosphere. But I know
It'd be really cool to have it at Citywide too.
Yes,
just
I
saying.
know that Rob and Jen and Matt Snyder and the Beefeaters, they hope to have something to say about that for sure.
Absolutely. Well, good stuff. Well, any final thoughts on this week's games, gentlemen? Should be wrapped up.
Good. Looking forward to. It's cold here. It's 7 o'clock at night, but this is playoffs. It's the final week. Get excited, sports fans.
Absolutely. Well, hey, for the coach Ron, Joe, Everett, I'm out of Melrose. It's been London Football TV Live, and we'll see you again next week.